Great movie, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Nice to have you back in Scotland.
Good to be here.
Although from London. I just want to congratulate you firstly on the great movie history so far.
Oh, thanks.
Influencing everybody else's lives here. But what I wanted to ask you is I'm a quite big Kurt Russell fan, and I wanted to find out that although I didn't know much about this movie, no knowledge about it beforehand, I wanted to ask you, why did you choose Kurt Russell? And firstly, do you have the same kind of ideas that you might be the same John Travolta kind of regeneration for us?
Yeah, well, Kurt Russell's career wasn't really in that bad of a shape. All right, I think he got like $7 million for Poseidon, so he wasn't exactly taking in a roommate anytime soon. So Kurt actually did us a favor because we couldn't have paid him that much. We paid him like $1 million or something like that. But that's that's him taking a $6 million cut to do the movie, which is almost like an investment. So I wanted to work with Kurt because I have always loved Kurt. He's always been one of my favorite actors, and like since I was a little boy. And he's old. He's about 15 years older than I am, and but I still feel like I grew up with him. When I was, he was 15 when I was, I need a little, I don't know how. He was probably about, he was like 19 when I was 4, all right? I'm trying to remember. Well, it was when I saw the computer that wore tennis shoes, is where I had the private conversation in my mind. Anyway,
He was in it?
Yeah, yeah. So, but the thing is, he's been acting since he was a little boy, and but the thing is, just like I know where you're coming from. Where you're coming from is he hasn't played a badass character in a long time. And I remember opening up like the newspaper when that movie Dreamer he did with Dakota Fanning, the horse movie came out, and I'm looking at the ad, and he's sitting there in silhouette, sun shining on him, Dakota Fanning. Little wildflower horse running. I go, when the fuck is Kurt gonna play a badass again? And so I just figured this would be, he has a great rogues gallery of characters of Snake Plissken and Jack Burton and McCready and Rudy Russo and Charles Whitman and Elvis and all these great guys that I just figured it would be really cool that Stuntman Mike would fit on that shelf. Now, when it comes to that other stuff, though, Kurt will turn around and say, "Yeah, okay, I'll go with that, but I'm going to tell you something. There's a little girl right now who's 10 years old, and when she grows up, she's going to fall in love with some guy because he reminds her of Kurt Russell in Dreamer." Questions?
Could you say a little about the product placement, where it came from?
What do you mean?
Well, the Shiner's beer and stuff like that.
Well, that's the Shinerbach beer. He asked about the product placement in the movie. Well, there's no product placement. I didn't make any money from doing that. But Shinerbach is the kind of the #1 beer of Texas. They really only sell it in Texas or any regional place that makes it a point of having beers from other countries or other states. And but it is hands down the most popular beer in Texas. It's so popular in Texas that Budweiser came up with a brand called Sellersbach, only for Texas to compete with Shinerbach. It's a very Shinerbach is just great, and it's just and in Texas it's you see it's everywhere, and it's a great beer.
Good evening, Quentin. You were on there with the laptop scene. I was quite sure, was that the director's cut or the censor's cut?
What?
The laptop scene in the film.
The laptop scene? Oh, lap dancing. I was like, I've never shot a laptop scene in my life. Lap dance? I don't ship clear and present danger, all right? No, it wasn't affected by the censors at all. The thing about it was, if you're referring to the fact that in the movie, in Grindhouse, that's one of the missing things. One of the things me and Robert wanted to incorporate in Grindhouse was the concept that there was missing reels. That a really good scene would be going on and you're building up to it, and then missing reel, all right? And then the audience goes, ah! And it's great, because the audience is there to be tortured. Which you're there for. All right, and when you guys go, ah! All right, that's you all having a good time. So, so Robert came up with some stuff, but I said, fuck that, man. I'm going to shoot a great scene, and I'm not going to use it. That's how fucking weird I am, all right? And I'm going to have a whole other scene in a restaurant that has no reason to be in the movie other than to set up the lap dance. And then it has so nothing to do with the movie, the audience forgets about it until it comes up. And then they're waiting. They've been hearing nothing but talk. Finally, something's going to happen, and then you don't get it. And the audience is like, oh, wow, all right? But then hopefully 10 minutes later, you're not thinking about it anymore. Because people start getting it.
And if you could only be remembered for one of your films that you've either been involved in or you've directed, and it's the only one, what would it be and why?
Gosh, that's a different way to ask that question, all right? What? If I only could be remembered for one film, gosh. Well, I guess, you've just asked that different enough that I actually have to think about the answer. Normally people ask me, what's my favorite movie? And I don't really have a favorite movie, but I guess I always just say Reservoir Dogs because it changed my life. You know, it's the first one and it changed my life. I guess if you were talking about if I was going to die tomorrow with only these 5 to show for myself, I guess it would be Pulp Fiction.
Which bit of dialogue did you enjoy most actually, seeing the actors speak out loud? Because I'd have to go with move, motherfucker, move.
I love that line, and I always question whether or not anyone can hear it because there's so much stuff going on, and I didn't want to create a little hole so it jumped out. So I'm actually I think you're one of the few people in the theater that hear it. All right, it's not that prominent. Move, motherfucker, move. And that's actually all Tracy Thomas. She came up with that. Did I have, that's a good question, actually. Yeah, I think if I did have a favorite, I guess I have 2 favorite sections of dialogue per se. I guess that would be Abernathy's saying when she's just talking about that director Cecil Evans and why she's not making out with him, why she's not, breaking him off a piece. And I just liked her little monologue there. And I like him and Abernathy's discussion about the gun.